Is it what? Hello? Are we live?
It says we are live.
Oh, it didn't even like on my end. It didn't play anything
No,
at
neither
all.
here either.
Nothing. Nothing happened. I was like, what
Oh,
the heck?
really?
Oh, well, wait a well now. That's how we're going to start the show off tonight. How lovely is that? Well, hello, my fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene. I am Greg, FanZcene, and with me tonight is Tom. And Rookie was supposed to be here. He said he was going to be here. He
I don't
even
believe
watched the
him.
movie. So we'll wait and see if he actually shows up. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I hit go live to play the intro and everything, and nothing. I don't. StreamYard has been fuckety lately. So, and I'm already cussing, and I tried my best not to. uh, 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 I
You used swears.
swear, I use swears. Sometimes I really, really try. Like I said, being around kids all day, you try to watch your mouth all day. But sometimes in situations when I
Sometimes you got to let loose, though. Otherwise, you say it at the wrong times, too.
right, so that's like when sometimes when I get on here with streams like with you or when I make a video, sometimes I let out the bad words.
He's taking a dump. Really? You couldn't go before the show. I hope he's listening on the shitter right now. And I just made his butt clench up. And
Clench it, wipe it.
he's got to wipe for like 20 minutes.
Oh, that is great. That is great. Uh, well, that's rookie for you.
That's
So
rookie for you. Well, in the meantime, was there much for news? I mean, Criterion's 50% sales going on, and their site crashed in the first few minutes, which is kind of funny. I
yeah,
know
they
I
did.
spent
Did.
too much on it, but oh, here's the shitter
Oh,
himself.
look, here he is. He's on the shitter right now.
Yep. How do I sound? I'm trying out a new mic.
Like you're on the shitter.
You're straining a little.
Straining.
Shitter was full.
Shitter was full.
Oh man. Both
All
my
right.
mics are being stupid right now. Ugh.
Is it sure it's not the mics that are being stupid?
This time, I would bet it's on the mics.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go say hi to chat real quick, and then we'll get into the Criterion thing and all that, and we'll see what's up. What is up, Style Selection? Glad to have you with us. Hell to you, Brian Barth. What is up, Ace Hanlon? Long live physical media, yes sir. What is up, my good friend Hallifield? Glad to see you in the chat. Hello there, Random Brad. Glad to see you with us tonight. Hell to you, Tim Hayes, my good friend, and also he does have a members chat for 31 months. I appreciate you very much, Tim Hayes, for that. And it says hell to FanZcene. Well, hell to you, Tim Hayes. I appreciate you very, very much. As always, thank you for being a channel member. Yeah. And then we have why Brian Barth, what is up? Glad to have you with us. Yeah, I don't know what happened there with the intro. And hey, look, Rook is here. We got him off the toilet. So just for this. What is up? Hell to you, Anthony Draven. Glad to have you in the chat. What's up, Stephen Luther? Good to see you out there as well. What's up, Calabunga dude? Glad to see you. Psycho Not Your Daddy. Howdy to you. And as always, I love that name. Yeah, he's supposed to. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Hallifield. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Are we all caught up on everybody? We are all caught up on everybody. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends the Physical Media Show is on.
This is a killer episode.
Yes, this is a killer episode.
It's going to be a murder of an episode.
Tell him the return of Rookie will be historic.
It's a 187.
All days.
187.
It's
Murder,
episode
death,
187. Murder, death, kill.
What about the 3 seashells?
What about him?
How do you use
them? Anyhow, well, we got a little bit of news, I guess, from a Criterion.
Yes.
32 short films about Glenn Gould, Mishima, A Life of 4 Chapters, or Life in 4 Chapters, Brazil, Sorcerer, and one of the ugliest looking covers of all time in The Wiz.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh,
as it took the internet by storm when it was announced at how horrible. Look, I looked the artist up. What is it with? Do we have DEI artists now?
It was pretty
I'm
bad.
not even kidding or trying to sound the least bit racist, but I'm like looking up this guy's art and I'm like, how? This reminds me of the Ghana art that I keep putting up.
It does. It really does.
I mean, and I seen this guy's art and it's all the same. It's like, why did you pick this guy?
Cheap DEI hire, I guess.
I guess I don't. Well, he supposedly has like he's big, big in quotations. I was doing the air quotes in the African art community, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
To me, there's a million better posters you could have used. First of all, Criterion. Let's have a little conversation here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Who the fuck does your art over there? Is it the same guy who does the Warner Brothers shit?
Right.
Because y'all suck.
The Criterion artwork is so
Criterion
bad.
has never been that great. Look, I've never been one of those people who thought that they're like just picking up like a still image from the movie and slapping Criterion at the top was ever arty at all. I never was one of those. I like their more simplistic and or where they actually did something decent with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got Kitty Cat.
Yeah, she's trying to chew on my controller back there.
And they notoriously have like the worst cover of all time with Citizen Kane, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they put them in these weird plastic cases that kind of look like DVDs to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't tell the difference between the 4Ks, the Blu-rays, any of that stuff. And just their images they pick are never really anything that good.
They're not. They're the I don't know what it is. It's like, yes, they do some really and we lost Tom. They do some really great work on Criterion with their movies and their stuff like that. But like usually their cover art and stuff is just horrid. It's usually not very
Isn't
good.
my audio better?
Sounds a little better to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Hi.
there you go. But yeah, I mean, especially after seeing that Wiz cover, I think like the best Criterion cover I had ever saw was the Night of the Living Dead.
I was just gonna say, Night of the Living Dead is the only one that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that was like the best one. But even then, like you mentioned, they put it in that little fold out case. That's not
The
like
original. I think the 4K they actually finally put in a plastic one.
Yeah.
But still.
So, I mean, come on, Criterion. You guys are like Criterion. Step it up a little bit. Give us some
Come up
better
with the
artwork.
new Steelbook. Come up with the next big thing.
Yeah, come up with something fancy.
Speaking of Steelbooks and nasty ones,
Mm-hmm.
we got to look at the Lethal Weapon one, and everybody was saying, yeah, that looks like more like something out of Loaded Weapon.
Yeah,
Because it was,
it was
Yeah.
bad looking, wasn't it?
yeah. Otherwise, I don't know if there was much else for announcements. Was there? Did Kino even announce anything this week?
I don't know. I don't think I saw any Kino stuff this week, to be honest with you.
Other
Let
than
me
the
see
ones
real
they
quick.
canceled or delayed, I should say.
Yeah,
Which
other
one
than
did I mention?
Daylight and Dante's Peak.
Yeah, which we have no real reason or rhyme for why they were delayed at this point, but we do know, I guess, they are still coming at some point. We just don't know what the deal is. And we know it's not a technical issue. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Roadhouse, I think you mentioned that, didn't you? It's coming
I
from
did
Arrow.
before the show, but not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Roadhouse, the original 1989, is coming from Arrow on 4K. Which, if you missed out on the Vinegar Syndrome one, you can look forward to that. Do have a rumor that Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me is coming to 4K from Criterion sometime in the next year in November. It says. Oh, it says
Not
in
surprised.
November. Okay, so it says coming in November. I think that's it. Yeah, I don't see any Kino. I think we got all the Kinos last week. They, it was Wayne's World 2, Kingpin, all that, which we did last week.
Yeah, it was a slow week for announcements.
Yeah, I think that was about it. Yeah, it's Disney. That's Disney for you. They'll give you no slipcase and charge you $40 for one disc.
$50.
$50. Yes.
At least that's what it's pre-ordering for right now. $49.99 for the 4K of Complete Unknown. Yeah.
Disney is, what can you say? They're horrible. No, I was just telling Tom, no, it didn't. I knew it wouldn't because they never shipped it. And so now I got to get back with them because they told me there's alerts. So either they're going to cancel it or ask me if I want to cancel it. Or, it's it's Amazon. I probably will end up eventually just going to Diabolic, whatever it is if they still have it in stock and buy it there eventually. So it's ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's really about all we had as far as any news goes. So, all right. With that being said, Rook, I don't know if you want to go because I think
I've got just one movie, so I'll go third.
You have one title.
You do your first, and I'll do mine.
I figure I'll actually go first tonight. I know, look, Team Tom, because I have one we just recently all discussed, and I don't want to make this a very long conversation because go over to Tom's channel and watch his Leprechaun tier list.
Which is basically we waxed about that for a while.
Yeah, for a while. So, but I did watch like at least the first 4 Leprechauns. I still never got to like Leprechaun in the
And you did watch Leprechaun Returns.
And I did watch Leprechaun Returns, which is a shitty ass movie. Do not, under any circumstances, watch Leprechaun Returns. That was the first time I ever watched it. It is horrible. Like Tom says, it plays into all the bad sequel tropes, and it also plays into all the bad legacy sequel tropes with disrespecting Ozzy, the legacy character, as they like to call it. Disrespect him completely. Just know, and like this with the smartest sorority girl sisters ever, the dumbest dudes in the world ever. It's
zero likable characters at all.
Zero likable characters.
Complete with the Force Ghost.
It's just so bad. What is up with the like? What is up with this? Like, first with Scream, you get like Ghost Dad Billy, and you get Ghost Ozzy. What is up with these stupid movies? Like, we're going to take a character and make them into a ghost and guide the character. It's so dumb to me. It's so dumb to me. Yes, Random Brad. It is horrible. It is horrible.
Well, when we were talking about it, we came up with like a half a dozen better ideas in the meantime.
Yeah.
Even like having another Leprechaun coming looking for the original Leprechaun would have been better.
Yeah. Oh, you're right, Second. Origins is worse than Returns, but Returns is horrible. It's just as bad.
Origins is so bad, I didn't even know it existed. And I'm a huge Leprechaun.
It's bad. It's bad. And also, we did get news, speaking of which there's going to be a new Leprechaun movie, and it's going to have an elevated vibe.
I thought you were going to say an elephant.
Get rid of that. The elevated horror crap. Get it out. It doesn't belong with the Leprechaun movie. Get it out. And it's the same guy. Who was I reading about? It was the same guy that did something that was really, really shitty as well. Anyways, but I did watch. It was St. Patty's Day. So a couple of my movies, besides one other movie besides the Leprechauns, deal with St. Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, I watched them. I love the first 3 movies. I think the first 3 Leprechauns are by far the cream of the crop. Part 4, Leprechaun in Space, is just a fun watch.
It's
not a great movie.
One of those bonus. Like, okay, watch that one.
It's not a great movie, but it's a fun to watch. Leprechaun in the Hood. The first one is, I didn't make it to that one, but that is a good one. Leprechaun in Back to the Hood, I vaguely remember. I don't remember liking it too well. Origin sucks. Returns I watched for the first time, and it was just, it was disgusting.
We're going back to the roots with the modern twist and ignoring the rest of everything else anyway. And it's the real sequel. It's what they always try to do.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
I think at most, like if I were to give it any credit, there was like 2 kills that I was like, that looks all right.
It's probably the guy that gets sliced in half with
that's the first one that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I was like,
with the solar panels. That kill was all right. At least, like I said, I give him props for the practical effects.
Well, and I kind of like, it's like, renewable energy saving the earth kills you.
Yeah, so I'll give him that was a little bit funny. I'll give him that. But
they intended that to be like creepy and gross and scary. Probably it is just that was more funny on accident. Probably.
Yeah, so but like the first 3 are the best.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want to spend too long on the Leprechauns here because we did, me, Tom, and Rook, believe it or not, because usually Tom has a much better panel than us on his show.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, hey, what can I say? He does have usually a much better panel than us.
He's right about you, at least, Rook. I don't know about him, but
well, I'm your special, secret weapon.
So you just had to stop it special.
Special. You're our special.
I'm your
you didn't
special.
have to go any farther than that. You're special. Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, check that out. check that tier list out over at Tom's if you still have it up, Tom. I don't know if
Yep.
what you've done with it, how you leave it up or not.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, so check that out, and yeah, don't watch Leprechaun Returns or Origins, and I'm not looking forward to the new one. And Frank Barth, sometimes when somebody becomes famous, they don't like to look back on the horror, because a lot of like famous people start in horror movies and they don't like to look back on them. It embarrasses them because they want to be a thespian. So.
Well, and we're getting another one. It sounds like, and this one's going to be elevated horror.
Do you think they'll have a real like small person, or do you think they'll do CGI like Snow White?
It'll probably be about the plight of the small person and how us tall people are evil.
He'll be the victim. He'll be the victim in this one.
Probably.
That's people who I am.
He's totally good because I'm so small and went off with a diddly potatoes.
Yeah, that's usually elevated horror. It's horror movies for people who don't like horror and to experiment with social justice. That's all elevated horror is, because they think of stuff like a small person being picked on by tall people as horror. That's legitimately elevated horror.
I don't get why they put extras on like an announcement. Like, why can't people announce a movie in a way that sounds good?
Yeah,
like ever.
Glad to have you with us. It's just
I would. We're gonna have Ghostbusters minus the men, so it'll be better. We're gonna have this minus that. We're gonna have this instead. Isn't that better?
I'd rather than announce something new and original than waste my time with something I loved.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. All right, but with that being said, that was really all I had on the Leprechauns. Like I said, we talked a lot about it, so there you have it. And I don't know. I did show it off, but this only has the first 7 in it. I didn't get the little nifty steelbook because I was lazy. That's what happens sometimes. But with that being said, let's go to you, Tom, if you're ready for your first pick of the night.
Well, since I watched Kick-Ass last week,
all right,
I thought I'd bust out my 4K of Kick-Ass 2. I have the old Blu-ray DVD combo here. But I also have the steelbook.
Love those movies.
Yeah, actually, it was better than I remember it being.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice little capper on the first film. Yeah, there's some things that are a little tonally different, a few different actors and whatnot, like you were pointing out, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not quite sure I understand what the whole point at the end of is, like how this is supposed to them being superheroes really kind of justifies everything or whatever. I don't know how to put it, but
yeah, it
just seems kind of convoluted. But it's just like, okay, yeah, you just should have been, because the whole movie's kind of about them breaking promises to their fathers, right? And the whole idea, it's really like the same plot as Dark Knight at the end of the day. Otherwise,
pretty much,
it really is. It is.
It's not far off.
Yeah, it really is. So, like, other than that, I mean, it's fun. It's good. It's not as good as the first one, but it's pretty good.
What year did it come out again?
2019, I want to say, or 18.
18. Wow. Yeah, I could see taking some inspiration from some hero stuff, but I mean, I'm kind of surprised that there's so many superhero-esque films and quite a few of them, like Kick-Ass and stuff, that kind of stand out a little bit from them. They're not like in the current universes.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it came out in like 2013.
It's still different. I feel like it was an earlier movie, not a more recent.
I didn't think it was that long ago. I swore it came out while I was working.
Kick-Ass like in 2010 or something? The first one?
I guess so.
Part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's 2013. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
And again, like the first film, this is an up convert.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little bit better, I think, than the first film, but not much in that respect. But yeah, otherwise, I didn't watch any special features or anything.
Yeah. What's your favorite characters in there?
Besides Kick-Ass and Hit Girl?
Yeah.
I mean, Motherfucker was pretty, he's kind of fun.
Yeah.
He's a weird one.
I love the bad guys, of course, are the more colorful, better characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best gimmick of the movie was, his whole like naming scheme and bringing in this whole group of supervillains. And how he becomes
Yeah.
obsessed with being a supervillain and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
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 Otherwise, I mean, the main good guy is just basically the Jim Carrey one is the only one that's really
Yeah.
stands out.
He's good in it. Yeah, and he did this in this role because it came out around the time with something to do with the guns.
And all that
So
shit.
he
Yeah.
kind of got up, over that.
There was a school shooting sometime around there, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
And he kind
I
of
don't
got,
remember which one, but yeah.
yeah, and he kind of distanced himself from this movie and didn't really promote it. So, but no, I remember it was okay. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I can't speak on it too much. But I remember it was being a little weird with the chick with their boobs out in it, the big muscle chick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. And I do know they put some of the stuff in this movie that they took out of the comic for the first movie, like with his dad, what they do to his dad, and there was something else too that was in the comic that they didn't use in the first movie, but they used it in this one. I can't remember. But yeah, it was all right. I still think the first one's the better movie.
I think so too. I remember Nicolas Cage played the Batman-esque character in that one, right?
In the first one, yeah.
First
Yes,
one.
Nick Cage is in the first one. Him and Hit Girl still the first movie.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I kind of liked about Kick-Ass and stuff too. It's like obviously trying to be kind of goofy but also have some level of commentary, but also takes itself serious enough in the right scenes, or the characters act certain moments out that stand out. And I don't know, it's like one of those ones that's not perfect, but it's a good, considering how many superhero stuff's around. It's one that doesn't feel like the same.
It's a nice little take on because I'm sure you've seen it on the news and stuff, like people going out patrolling their city as a real superhero. They claim to be real superheroes. Is just like dudes in costumes doing
dudes in costumes, totally no
community service.
Yeah, doing community stuff. So it's a nice little take on that. It's like, what if these guys that did this ended up in a real superhero type situation? Like
accidentally created like a supervillain area and other superheroes and whatever, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah. And yes, it's fun. That's a fun take. To me it's like it has the spirit of something like Deadpool, but it's like the whole movie is kind of
like Deadpool and Batman together.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, it's basically the same plot as Dark Knight. Down to where basically instead of Rachel getting killed, it's Jim Carrey and his dad or whatever. But
yeah. Which is kind of funny though, because like you say that it's kind of like Dark Knight, but I would never think Kick-Ass just like Dark Knight. Like,
but
I see what you
really
mean.
Is pretty much the same plot. Like the whole idea of Dark Knight is, is Batman making it worse, or is he actually helping, right? Like, and that's the whole point of Harvey Dent, right? And that's the whole.
I see what you mean, but like I'm saying, like though they're similar, they're very different. Like
in tone, but otherwise they're the exact same story, even in certain similar beats. Like I said, even when like the scene where his dad getting killed is basically the same as when Rachel gets killed.
Yeah.
And motherfucker's a lot like the Joker in this in what he's doing. You could almost kind of consider the death of Jim Carrey's character along the same lines as when, Two-Face gets, become whatever. But like, it doesn't have like you got to make a choice thing at the end, but it kind of still does, because Hit Girl and him got to make a choice to be superheroes. Yeah. Right? Like that's the whole other plot of the movie, is that they made these promises to their fathers to put up their costumes, and then they both have to break that promise. Like, and then the whole movie is them justifying why they should break that promise, basically.
Yep. Yes, sir. And you're right. It is pretty much the Dark Knight. And yes, the first movie is better than the actual comic, because I think we discussed last week is that what's his name? The director, Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
And Mark Millar worked hand in hand. So like as he was writing the comic, he was sending pages to Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn was like, "Okay, you can do this in the comic, but we can't do this in the movie." So
and I have no idea how much difference there is between this one and the comic either.
So they're being made at the same time.
They were pretty much
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one was pretty much being made at the same time.
And there is a Kick-Ass 3 comic, but my memory is like I don't even know if I read the second one. I read the first one way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered some of the differences, but I vaguely remember. And then I do, like, I know Motherfucker and stuff like that is in the second comic. and some of the same characters and some of the similar things and themes, but I know it's still different. And then like Kick-Ass 3 is like even darker from my memory.
Yeah. I
And I
think
don't remember liking that one at all. And I was like, I kind of hope they either don't make a movie of this or they change a lot or something like that. I remember thinking that, like, yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember, the comics are much darker than the movies and much
more cynical.
Yeah, much more cynical. They're not quite. Matthew Vaughn had the right idea. Was like, okay, you can do this. Like I said, you can do this in the comic, but I'm going to do this in the movie because it makes better sense and will play better to the audience that I'm putting the movie towards. So
I mean, the movies are kind of a great bookend, and I'm not somebody who's usually a big fan of duels or duality or duologies or whatever the hell duologies. I prefer trilogies or things to end in the third, right? Like,
yeah.
Just to me, it always feels a little bit more natural, and then especially usually because you get at least 2 good movies out of the equation.
And there's parts of the third one that you usually like.
Usually it's 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, but like, yeah, it's like, it just depends on the franchise, right?
Yes.
But these stories generally, or these movies generally, seem to come out better in 3s. But it doesn't always. There's no steadfast rule. But like, that's the beauty of this film, compared to the first one, is it does have similar beats and tropes to the first film that make it feel like a direct sequel to the first film.
Yes.
But also it has the character growth. It's not as good, like I said. I'm kind of muddy on the message at the end. Right? I'm still kind of like, is it really justifying this, or
I kind of feel like the first one was solid as it was, and Kick-Ass 2 is kind of like, do you want a little more of Kick-Ass 1 a little bit? Here's another movie.
It doesn't make all the sequel mistakes, but like like I said, the weakest spot of the film is kind of its main theme, and that is, should Kick-Ass and Hit Girl really exist? Because her stepfather's right, or her adopted father, whatever, what's his name, Marcus or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is also, I think, another character they changed out because they got the guy from whatchamacallit, the CW show, in this one. I don't think he played him in the first one.
Yeah.
And he's kind of right, even though Mindy does end up being fucked over by the Mean Girls and has to deal with that Mean Girl shit. Like, he's not technically wrong. Like, I mean, her dad really did fuck her up. Right? Like, and I mean, she tries to justify it by saying all these things in the movie, and it's like, yeah, but girl, you didn't have a childhood.
Yeah, grew up way too fast.
It's like, it's more like she needed to come to terms with that more so, and she kind of does, but it's more so how she tries to convince her stepdad or whatever that this is why I need to do this. But like, in reality, no, her dad was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, nobody in there, like, nobody should be doing that with a child. We know this. Like, that's why this is a movie.
And exactly. And the thing is, I'm glad they did change that, and because in the comic books, Big Daddy is not her dad at all.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like some stupid convoluted.
Yes, so like Matthew Vaughn knew to change that. Like, yeah, they have to be father and daughter. But it does, like you mentioned, it does sort of play well on it. Like, most people can see that, like, yeah, she's messed up. Her dad did this to her, but she can't see that. So that,
well, she can, but she's accepting it. Well, she does admit it, and she does accept it, but it's the way she says it in the movie to Marcus, just really kind of like, I don't know if I'd really put it out that way. It's just more of the idea of, yes, I lost a childhood. In the way she says it, but I gained so much. That's basically how she should have said it. Is like, I lost a childhood, but I gained so much more, and now I can give it back. And I don't. Nobody else has to lose a mother and father like I did because of crime and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Have her big hero arc, and
it's almost like if Bruce Wayne could make the ultimate child. That's like, okay, in a way, as far as like you won't have to suffer. You can make sure no one else.
But let's be real, Mindy kind of probably does belong in prison.
Yeah,
she
probably a lot of people.
She's a serial killer. Let's be fucking real. She's not normal.
Even if they are
bad people,
she kills a lot of people.
Yeah. And technically, it's still in cold blood in a lot of cases. That one hooker chick, she just basically kills in like almost cold fucking blood. So like,
yeah. So, it is that. I mean, but they're still fun movies. The first one, like I said, is like a great movie. So
she's basically Deadpool, right? Like, I mean, she doesn't see the world the same way everybody else does.
Yeah, she sees it as like good and evil.
It's not a mutation for her, but it's like, yeah, just because of the way she was raised, she doesn't trust anybody. Everything is, you know, she's obsessed with this whole thing that she was raised to do. But I mean, that's because that's what she was raised to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, it does kind of put this whole idea up to, can she shake it? Can she turn it off? Right. No, not really. And I mean, that's what the movie's kind of coming to terms with, to where Kick-Ass is able to kind of finally get out of that. And you know, at the end of the day, it's a good film. Are they the same as the comics? No, but I'm not as big of a fan of the comics. I think they work better as films.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it. I think, I don't know if you can still get the Steelbook or not, but it's pretty readily available. The second one is, so.
Yeah, I think
I know
that's
the first one's
like,
getting re-released, so.
Yeah, I think the second one is one they like always put. You know, there's like a lot of that left to that. So,
well, the weird thing is that one's Universal and the other one's Lionsgate, but I think we talked about this on the Mephisto's movie show,
mm-hmm.
where like Lionsgate had distribution, but then Universal ultimately bought the rights to it.
Yeah.
So like that's where they like, they even still have I think they have something with the first one too, but like this one they had complete distribution and rights to. So yeah.
Okay.
But of course, this one I don't think made much money either, from my memory.
Yeah, I don't remember being very successful as much as the first one was. I think it came out a little late or something. There was just something about it, you know?
Well, it was also in the, well, it was, because it's weird, because the first one came out right in the beginning of the Marvel phase.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be right in the heart of the Marvel phase. So if it's 2013, it's the year after Avengers. Maybe it's because people wanted more serious superheroes at this point. Maybe it was a little too early. If they would have waited a few more years, or maybe done it right after the first one, like you were saying, like right away.
Maybe.
I mean, that's the other problem with this movie. I mean, besides Mindy being older, like Aaron Taylor Johnson doesn't look like a scrawny little dude anymore.
No, by the end of the movie, like even when he's like working out, you're like,
yeah.
And then he went on to be Quicksilver like right afterwards.
Not long after, yeah. So like this, he's buff as fuck in this movie, and you're just like,
it doesn't work as like he did in the first one. You can even tell by his neck. Yeah. Just look at, even when they got him in the baggy school clothes, and you just look at his neck, he's like, yeah, it
almost makes you wonder if Michael Cera or the guy who played McLovin shouldn't have played Kick-Ass to begin with, which is funny because I think he did audition for Kick-Ass, the guy who plays McLovin. But yeah, he would have been probably more apt. But I see the dynamic in the original one. It makes sense because at that time, Aaron Taylor Johnson wasn't this big buff dude, but now he is. Yeah,
yeah.
Because you need a nerdy Lucas type to play.
That's what surprised
Michael Cera, somebody like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you needed somebody like that. I mean, but he was a good actor. I mean, it is what it is.
He's fine in the first one. It's this one. It's just distracting how big he is, especially standing next to Hit Girl.
He had a glow up.
Yeah, well, yeah, so did she, but she's even that. He makes her look that much smaller in this movie because of how buff he is, right? Like, at least in the first movie when they're standing next to each other, yeah, he's taller than her, but he's scrawny, and she didn't get, I don't think she grew that much between movies, although she did, you know, she's a couple years older, but like,
yeah,
she seems like she didn't sprout up at all, but you're right. He seems like he's like 5 feet taller than her in this movie. Yeah. It's like, just, he's towering over her, but yeah.
That's what got me like to, not about this, but like in Nosferatu, I was so surprised to see how small Willem Dafoe was next to all those guys. I mean, I knew he was... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you'd be surprised how many actors are not very big.
Well, yeah.
And most of the time, they have big heads. That's the other thing.
That's true. I mean, I knew he wasn't like a super tall guy, but like seeing all the cast standing around him be taller than him, and he was like the same height as Lily Rose Depp. I was kind of
Nicholas Hoult, I think, is like 6 foot something. Aaron Taylor, 6 foot something.
And then that one guy that is going to play Galactus, I think, he's like 6 foot something, huge.
Yeah,
the Doctor. But speaking of vigilantes and Willem Dafoe, does go into my pick. If you got anything else you want to say?
Nah, that was pretty much it.
All right, so for St. Patrick's Day, which I actually St. Patrick's Day, I watched the Boondock Saints.
I still haven't watched that movie.
I think you would like the first one.
I need to. I haven't. I don't know why I haven't.
I mean, this is a classic cult classic independent film. I may have had a pint of Guinness while I was watching this movie late on St. Patty's Day. But no, this is speaking of vigilantes and stuff. This is about two brothers, the McManus brothers, who, they live in Boston. They're well regarded amongst their people. The people they live, in Boston, they live around. They're Catholic. They get into this bar fight on St. Patrick's Day with some Russian mafia guys, and they beat them up, and then the Russian mafia guys come to where they live and try to kill them, and then the brothers end up killing them, and then they get this vision supposedly from God is that they're to go out there and clean up the city, and take out the evil. That's their vigilante. So that's what they just turn out. It's like they kind of just fall into it, and they're really good at it. But there's like a whole story behind them that why are they so good at it. Maybe it gets explained by the end of the movie, so I don't want to spoil that for anybody who hasn't seen it, even though I know this is been out for a while. So he's 5'7", so at least I'm taller than Willem Dafoe, so that makes me happy. But yeah, so no, Willem Dafoe is an FBI agent, and he's working with the Boston police to figure out who is supposedly killing all these mafiosos, from the Italian mob to the Russian mob. He can't figure it out, but he's like really smart. And what's funny is like he's a gay guy. He's a gay guy in this, right? And this is how you would do a gay character, because he's actually an actual character that you like and enjoy, and you watch, and you're trying to you go along with this character. And it's not that, oh, look, he's gay. Like in today's movies, like
he's the kind of character where you would not label him as the gay character.
No, you would not. I mean, he has this great scene where like you don't even really know he's gay at first, but he does come off a little prissy, you know what I mean? But you don't know, so you're just like, okay, he's Willem Dafoe. And then he gets a phone call after one of the hits, and he's in bed with the dude, and he looks at the dude, and the dude's got his arm around him. They get your arm off me, you F word,
He's like, you're too gay for me, man.
He's like, get off me. So you kind of laugh at it, but it's funny. And like Norman Reedus, this is early Norman Reedus for anybody who's a Walking Dead fan. Sean Patrick Flannery is great as the other brother. They have Rocco, David Della Rocco, who's in it, is like he's like part of the Italian mob, but he's their friend. He's an underling, and he joins up with them. So like it's this great like vigilante movie, like Tom was talking about, with like where it's the flip side of like superheroes, but it's like these guys who are religious, who think they're on a mission from God and see themselves as the lesser evil, as like they were sent to be like the right hand of God and
we're
take
doing God's work. We're the Crusaders.
Exactly. Templars. They're the saints, the Boondock Saints. They're to take out the evil of this town so that good can flourish.
Yeah, they're basically like a Daredevil Punishers in terms of like, oh, we've got our faith and we'll kill all of you.
Yeah, they're very similar to the Punisher. It's like if the Punisher and Daredevil, what's Punisher is Catholic to begin with as well, by the way. It's like if Punisher and Daredevil merged, because it's like they had the faith of the Daredevil, which Punisher is, like I said, is Catholic, but he doesn't express it like Daredevil does.
Yeah.
So it's like if they had the faith of Daredevil and the mentality of kill these guys like the Punisher. So yeah.
And there's two of them.
It ends up being three. And then Billy Connolly is in the movie as well, who is great as El Duce, this guy they hire from that the mob hires, like supposed to be this really monster hitman guy so they can take him out. And there's a secret involved in that, which I don't want to get into. What movie? That would be the Boondock Saints, Tim, the Boondock Saints. So, when will we ever get a 4K of this? Because I know somebody asked you that, Tom. Don't know. Maybe because they're supposed to be doing a third movie, which I'm very hesitant on that. I like the second movie. I know some people don't like the second movie called Boondock Saints, All Saints Day. I know some people don't like it, but I do like it. Does it have problems? Yes. This is as good as the first movie? No. But like Tom was saying, these movies tend to typically work great in a trilogy, and they supposedly are supposed to be doing a third movie. But some of the stuff I've heard about it, I don't know if any of it's changed since I've heard about it, but some of the stuff I've heard about it makes me hesitant. I don't know if Troy Duffy, the guy who directed and wrote it, is going to be a part of the third movie.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Didn't Fox put out the original?
I I want to say yes, 20th Century Fox. But
Yeah, that's your answer as to whether or not you're getting a 4K.
yeah, you probably won't.
Soon.
Disney's got a stake in that, so no.
Unless it gets like tons and tons of sales, no.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's on Hulu or Disney Plus right now.
Probably not.
So,
This is a very cult niche movie, though.
It is very niche, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, I remember when it came out, like, everybody was talking about it, and I don't know why I never watched it. And everybody said, "Oh, you're Irish, you should watch it." It's like, yeah, well, you know how you get when people tell you have to do things or should do things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it's like, I'm not going to do it just to defy your ass, and I'm a rebel.
We do not like to be told what to do.
No. I mean, I like recommendations, don't get me wrong, but like people are pretty insistent on this movie because they're like, "You're gonna love it." It's like, the problem is every time somebody has said that to me, I usually end up hating it.
Yeah.
And I'd say it to people too, don't get me wrong. I'm not like I'm innocent of the doing that. It's just the track record of when people try to do that to me, it doesn't generally work out. Yeah.
I get you. I do. Because I do think maybe you might like it, but then after you say that, I think, it maybe you wouldn't. So I don't want to,
I might like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it might be like an overhyped movie by a lot of people's
kind of
standards.
The reason is, Rook, that like I'd heard so much hype surrounding it that it's like.
But like, if you watch it with a bro or something, if you watched it with like a bro or something or some bros, like it's one of those kind of movies. Like,
I'm not wearing
a
stupid Mexican hat to watch
drinking, shooting.
Yeah, See, this is what it would concern me because I did think I heard something about Troy Duffy. He is the writer, director, creator of them. I did hear. I know he was on Nerdrotic as well too. I know he's sort of been on the outs with Hollywood. So I heard they were he's not going to part of the third movie, and plus I read that the third movie was going to be like John Wick, and they were going to expand the universe like a John Wick universe, and that right there gives me like, no. If you've seen these movies, the whole point of these movies is, yes, the mafia world existed, but these two guys in that first movie, this is the first time they ever did anything like that. There is no expanding world of Boondock Saints out there like the John Wick, like, oh, there's a Continental in Asia. They're
going to make it a Boondock Saints club. They're going to have like the Church of the Boondock Saints, and they're going to have like all this equipment. It's going to be really ridiculous. Probably.
I really hope they don't do that, because I know in the second movie, not to spoil too much, in the second movie they hint at there being a larger world, but it's they hint at it as like, we need the boys. It's more like we need the boys to go out there and start.
It just sounds like they got family. They got friends that could help them. Like, it's not a huge stretch.
It's kind of like we need to get the boys out there doing the work outside, not just in Boston, but like everywhere. Whereas like what the people with the third one sounds like they want to make it like multiple Boondock Saints with spinoffs, which is like, no. Please don't do that.
The way that could be worded is like, if they left town and went to another town and I don't know, F some shit up over there.
I really hope they don't do that personally. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I watched that, had a little pint of Guinness, sorry.
Yep.
Watched it, the first one, and that was my end of my St. Patrick's Day. But I thought that bled pretty well into the whole vigilante thing with Kick-Ass. So look at that. See, that's how we do it. When Runner was here and you, Rook, you guys never followed.
Well, I can go next and continue it.
If you're ready for your pick, go ahead. So,
all right, yeah, continuing the theme of superheroes, I watched Orgazmo.
What?
Here. So,
you watched the movie?
Yeah, I know, right? Physically in my hands as well. Oh my gosh. Huge South Park fan. I watched Team America a few years ago, watched basketball last year, and now got this one under the belt. So now I don't know how much more movies that they've made that are like this that aren't South Park related. So I don't know if I've crossed them all off yet. But
I think that's it. You watched Team America.
Yep.
Basketball. That what's that one movie? It's they made it well before. It's a trauma movie. We lost Tom. Tom would know it. What is the name of the movie? It's a cannibal. It's a cannibal movie. It's a musical. It's a comedy. It's from Trey Parker. Oh my God!
Book of the Mormons or something? Or...
No. Book of the Mormons is their musical that they made. There you go. Thank you, Stephen. Cannibal the musical. It's called Cannibal the musical. Yes. Thank you, Brian Bartley and Stephen. Yeah, it's a Trey Parker film. So yeah, that's like their first movie, his first movie ever made. So that's something you might want to look into.
Yep, I just might. But I mean, just right from the get go, the music they had for it was great. I forget how some of it went, but it's like, what does it take to be your man? Do you have a girl in your hands with big titties, or do you do something for glory? No, it's probably just the titties. Okay, just classic South Park style comedy right there. And then the first shot of the movie is like of the Hollywood Boulevard, the Hollywood sign, and then in captions Hollywood, like just great, because that's just a funny thing, because like, yeah, you says Hollywood, you're there. Nope, captions just in case you don't know you're there already. And then boom, cut to them as Mormons going door to door. Like, okay, yep, nice. As everyone that they go to is just not in the mood, of course, because why would they be? And cutting back and forth to them shooting their porn stuff and whatever, and then till they get to the door. Just good setup for it. Trey, this feels, yeah, definitely more like a Trey movie than a Matt involvement, but still, there's so much like humor in here that like,
Trey Parker. I mean, Tom would know better than me, but I think Trey Parker's the driving force behind them too.
Yeah, I mean, because Matt was just the guy that sounds like a Jack officer in this, pretty much off to the side. It's like, oh, that was awesome. Not to be queer, but that was pretty much his involvement in there. But there's so many jokes in here that aren't that funny, but I was laughing. I was like, why is that funny? Why am I laughing? Why am I laughing? Why am I laughing at that? I was like, what the hell? Like, just so many jokes that were hilarious. I had to write some of them down just so I remember some of them, because it's like, what the hell? That was funny as shit. Like when one chick's just taking off her bra when they're in the changing room, and he's like, and goes and hides or whatever behind there. Oh, because he's Mormon and he doesn't want to see any boobies or anything. But like that, funny. They said something like, Jesus. What would they say? I wrote down some of the stuff here. Martial arts doesn't stop guns. Or whatever. Somebody says, Jesus, where? Just little jokes that are just like not that funny, but I was cracking up every time. His little buddy that he has with them, which I swear the little guy, I think he voices a few characters in South Park, at least in the earlier seasons, but not that many. But he sounded a little familiar. The little guy, the short guy, I forget.
Isn't he in basketball?
Yeah, he's in there too.
Yeah,
I know he voiced at least one character in South Park. I think, at least the early seasons, but I don't remember exactly. But no, this one was just hilarious the whole way through, the whole concept, and he's really trying hard to just not be involved in anything while he's there at all. Well, the dude's just really trying to get just porn stuff shooting, everybody's naked in front of him. He's just like, his expressions of seeing people all the time are hilarious. Just a good visual actor, which you'd think that he might not be because he does mostly voice stuff, but no, good actor too. So
happens. I mean, it's very classic South Park. I haven't seen it in a while, so yes, it did get an NC-17 rating.
Yeah, which I thought was weird because they don't show any tits or dick or nothing. Like what? What?
Way to describe that, there, Rook. Way to describe that.
It's very clean, and it's like, I mean, at most they say some curse words, but I don't know. And they do show sexual objects, but they don't show anything direct.
This is the problem that Matt and Trey Parker have had for years. Like Tom talked about before, about how they figured out how to work with them through sending them the things they didn't want in the movie, and then sending them the things they did want in the movie, because they knew the one thing would get turned down, and then what they really wanted would get approved. So that's how they got the whole, So yeah, I don't know if it just actually deserves that in C-17. So
no, like honestly, I would think it would barely be. It would be above a PG-13 just for the amount of curse words, I guess. But
it'd be R.
yeah, pretty much. But no, it was pretty good. Just funny lines. How would Christ benefit from me putting my tongue in someone's mouth? Lines like that. I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but I think unicorns kick ass. Just he's just random stuff like that the whole time. He's hinting that he's kind of gay or whatever. You ever try having 4 D's in there? The hamster kung fu, just stupid things. But I'm like, smile. I'm just like, God, why is this? It's not that funny, but it's catching, but it's hitting. It's like poking the funny bone at the right angle. And so I was like, okay, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Well, you are a fan. You are a fan, so that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I was expecting there to be more like when I watched Team America, I liked Team America, but there are so many jokes in Team America that they use in South Park that I was like, okay, like it's like secondhand jokes, because I've seen them before.
But they use some of the same jokes here as they do in South Park as well.
Some of them, yeah, but I feel like there wasn't as much an overflow of them. But the T-Rex chick, that was nasty. Like or Tyrannosaurus or whatever. Yes.
I did not know they were making a new film called Whitney Springs. Is that what's it about?
That'd be good if they're making something like that. I mean, they seem like funny guys that restrain themselves oddly with how much they try to not restrain themselves. Or I guess they're always restrained anyway, so they have to, do what they can that can get released, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. They're not really restrained, are they, Tom?
No, it just sounded oddly sexual.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Well, he did watch Orgazmo, so.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus is going to put an end to you. It's the line they say. I've had enough of your poop. Just lines that I wouldn't really laugh at, but it was funny here. So, I don't know. It was good. It's a fun one.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while, so.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. I don't know if, Tom, if you've got more info on the movie or something to share or anything, but yeah, I didn't realize that the special features are when you flip the disc over. They have special features. I was trying to look for it on the menu. I'm like, it's not here. Where's the special feature? It says there's special features all over the place. I don't see nothing. Side B. Side B. Oh.
I can't believe you even knew how to work it.
That's why I have a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yep. Shows how much I pay attention to physical media, huh?
That's why we were trying to replace you.
But look, I keep on
just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on coming back. This is like the first time you've been here in like 6 months.
like 2.
Oh, all right. Well, if you don't have any more words on it, at least you watched something, and at least you actually had a physical copy of it tonight. And at least you showed up. So.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, I think chat agrees with me. So
yeah, most
three strikes.
People who are fans of South Park and stuff are pretty much fans.
You're all man.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tom, if you're ready for your last pick of the night, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to me.
Oh, I got more than.
Oh, that's right. You have.
I've got two more yet. I haven't gone my second pick.
Okay, yeah, we'll do your pick, my pick, then you, and that'll be it. Yeah, because I started first. I forgot. So, yeah. So go ahead.
I got a new Arrow 4K in the mail. And, yeah, it's one that, I mean, you got to imagine I love. I don't know about love, but like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea. I even have the old Blu-ray here. It has the DVD. And I looked up, just to see the progression. And, yeah, it looks really great, but the CGI aged horribly in this movie.
I was going to say, like, the CGI of those type of movies from back then.
Oh, God, yeah, it looks bad. But other than that, it looks great. But, I mean, you get, nice rigid slip cover. I pulled the other thing off. Get a booklet, a poster, reversible poster. And then I got the original art that I flipped around, of course, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the thing with this movie is you can tell whoever made it, I forgot the name. Rennie Harlan directed it, but the writers anyway.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 3 of them. They clearly love Jaws 3. A lot. So what we have here is Jurassic Park. For those who've never seen it, it's a movie about this facility that's out in the middle of the ocean where they have genetically altered sharks because they've discovered that they may be able to extrapolate something from their brain to cure Alzheimer's disease. And of course, they get smarter than the people, and they basically turn into raptors in water.
So this is the plot of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes? No.
Yes. And pretty much every way a shark dies in one of the Jaws films, they die here. It's a lot of fun, though. LL Cool J kind of steals the show. You got Michael Rappaport and Thomas Jane as the two main dudes, and of course Samuel Jackson chewing the scenery when he's in it, and probably one of the first movie memes ever was his death scene.
Yeah.
In the early days. I mean, this is even before because you got to remember, this came out in 1999 or 1998 or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, other than the CG stuff, the movie looks great, and they did a Dolby Atmos upgrade to this, and I mean, it already sounded good anyway. But it's such an iconic scene.
It's a good scene. I mean, regardless,
he might as well have been screaming, "I'm sick of all these motherfucking sharks in this motherfucking tank," and then the fucking it's the only thing it's missing. But he's like, "We are going to survive."
Yeah.
I'm not getting ate by raptors ever again.
They'll just dub that in on the re-release, Why not?
Was her character, Saffron Burr's character, supposed to live? Because I know that did shock me as well a little bit in the movie, but I figured it was going to happen.
No, I know. Well, honestly, if she did, the test audience is probably like, "Kill that bitch."
Yeah, I was going to say, because you kind of like want it to happen by the time it happens.
It's all her fucking fault.
Exactly. It's a good movie. It is a fun movie.
It's not just that she did it on accident. She deliberately, and then the scene where you're basically like, yeah, this bitch has got to die. Yeah. There's a scene where she's like talking to Thomas Jane, and she's like, you basically like, you need to learn your place, Mr. Former Criminal.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, so that's how it is.
He's like, right. He's like, she gotta go. She gotta go.
The movie ends exactly as it should. It does kind of feel like a test screen because, like, LL Cool J, I don't even think is present for the whole explanation about he's there, but he's like off in another spot where they left him because his leg's all fucked up.
Yeah.
And then he jumps up on the top of the thing and starts doing the thing with the battery and the harpoon. It's like, was he even around to hear him say that? Whatever. It's a movie. Yeah. At that point, you're like, get that shark, LL. Like, yeah.
Well, it is a fun movie, but one of my favorite things is that come out of this movie, as well as like they'll say like LL Cool J is the first black man to survive a horror movie in this movie, and I'm like, no, he's not.
He did an H2O before that.
Yeah, he survived that, and he's not the first black person to survive a horror movie.
LL Cool J is basically it's more like the rule is if LL Cool J is in this horror movie, he's gonna live.
Yeah, I mean he's LL Cool J,
and I hate that because you and I think we've discussed that before. That whole idea that if you're black, you're going to die. That trope doesn't exist.
It does.
Please give me the examples. I want them. Nobody can ever give me the examples because I can give you 5 or 6 right now where the black person either dies next to last or not at all.
Watch Night of the Demons from 1980, whatever. The black guy lives.
Friday the 13th is actually very nice to black people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more black people survive Friday the 13th movies than white people do.
Yeah.
But if you're Hispanic, you're fucked.
That's true.
Like all the Hispanics have ever been in that movie, they die every time. Never live. Even the nice ones.
Yeah.
Because that one chick was like all like gonna pity fuck what's his face in the third one. Even she fucking dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like in 5, the kid Reggie lives or whatever, and then in part 8, what's his face, the boxer guy, he lives. He's the last one to die, I think, ain't he?
Yeah, I think he's like
either him or the teacher.
I think the teacher dies after him.
Yeah, so that's it. So he's the only other person besides him to die. Yeah, and he actually puts up the only person in history to put up a fight with Jason other than Corey Feldman.
Yeah, and
that was just because Corey played his music and Jason's like. For like 10 minutes, but like, no, sorry.
Yeah, and then we went on to think, was LL supposed to die originally?
It kind of seems like it was possible. Probably a lot like what happened in Jaws: The Revenge when they killed Mario Van Peebles, and then our test audience is like, why did you kill him? We liked him. He was one of the only good parts of the movie.
Yeah.
So then you have that weird reshot ending where he's like, I'm not dead yet, man. And he's
Yeah. Speaking of which, also about black guy in Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. What's his name from When There's No More Room in Hell, the Dead Walker.
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, he lives in both of those movies.
He was killed in that movie.
And he was supposed to die in the original Dawn of the Dead too. And they're like, fuck it, let him live.
And he lives at the end of Leatherface because Ken Foray. Yes, Ken Foray. He
Ken
actually
Foray,
gets in Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3. He puts his face into a chainsaw, cuts it up. He's dead as dead could be. But then he comes walking out at the end of the movie to help the girl to live because you know why? The test audience did not like seeing him get killed. And so he lives in the movie. So yes, so it happened. I mean, the trope, I don't know really where it came from, but
like I said, in most cases, the black person lives. Right?
Yeah, most cases.
I mean, and honestly, if you look at even like a movie like People Under the Stairs, which is a black-led horror film, I think more white people die in that movie than black people do too.
And that kid, the kid makes it. So
I think Ving Rhames is the only black person to die in that whole movie.
It is what it is. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
And I don't even think he's the first because his partner goes first. I can't remember who plays his partner, but he's a white dude, like a Hispanic dude or whatever. But yeah, I can't remember now. It's it's been a couple years since I watched it, but
it's been a while since I've seen it too.
Well, I bought the 4K when it came out a while back here, but it's just been a tick. But I'm trying to remember now who it was and that was in it. Because I'm like, it's not John Leguizamo, but for some reason that keeps popping in my head. It's like, who was it?
Oh, is it? Hold on, let me see.
Let me look.
Yeah, that's what I had to look it up too. And supposedly
his partner's white or whatever. At least he's not black. I know that.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Because he's the guy at the end where they got him all like cut up and shit.
I'm trying to. Ella's got what's her name too? Kelly Jo Minter's in it. So,
Bing Rhames is Jeremy Roberts is Spencer. Oh, that's not it. Where the fuck is he at?
That's what I'm trying to find it myself.
Jesus Christ. Google sucks.
They do.
I was trying to remember his name in the movie.
But it's bad news. Jordan Peele's going to remake
Spencer, right? Jeremy Roberts. Yeah, it's Jeremy Roberts. So yeah, he's not Hispanic, but he kind of has like a
looks it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good luck with that.
No, wait, never mind. He was one of the. Or was he one of the? Which one was he? Was that the guy named Spencer or whatever? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had like a beard and shit, I think. Yeah. Or goatee or whatever. Anyway, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Get ready for the Jordan Peele production company remake of that. So,
was there even that many black people that died in Candyman?
No, I mean Candyman is all about
killing
the second movie is really, but I mean honestly, if you read that what Tony Todd said, he didn't want it to be about, like, he was a little upset with what they made him into in the second movie because he didn't want it to be about a slave and all that. He wanted it to just be this, like,
yeah, but I think that is what it is in the original book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so in the Clive Barker story, but like he himself was trying to make it different. He didn't want it to be like the typical, oh, he was a slave and now he's killing people. So, he didn't want it that way.
The bees! The bees!
But no, The Deep Blue Sea is great. Is a great movie. I mean, it's not great, but it's fun.
Nicolas Cage from Netflix. You said my name.
Whatever you do, don't put down Netflix. You might get called certain names.
I saw it. What the fuck? That doesn't even compute.
That's what I was.
First of all, if somebody's conservative and seen as a boomer, wouldn't they be like rah rah physical media? Yeah,
yeah.
If you're a zoomer, then yeah, I could see y'all like fucking Netflix, like fucking Rook over here.
He saw it on Netflix.
He loves Netflix movies.
I did a video on the director of 47 Ronin actually swindled like $11 million from Netflix. I
saw that today. I thought that was funny.
I thought it was funny too.
He got caught.
Yeah, he got caught.
He couldn't come out with some way of like being like, "Hey, they signed the fucking contract and gave me the check." Like
that's pretty much what they did from the sounds of it. because I was reading through it. That's pretty much what it sounds like they did.
That's their fault.
Yeah, exactly. And I was laughing at it and making fun of Netflix because it's like, hello, people. Netflix is doing the same thing to actors and directors and
Well,
stuff.
and how many
They're
creatives have
money
had shit
from them.
stolen from them over the years and
Exactly.
everything like that? Yeah. Look, I get it. Is technically, it's like, yeah, they just caught him because they knew the game, right? Basically, is what you're saying in so many words. And I did. It made me chuckle. It was kind of a fun story.
laugh.
It's just too bad that the guy's probably going to get in a bunch of shit. But
yeah, I feel bad for him. I do.
yeah, I mean, wow, it's tough to feel bad for him per se, but I mean, I feel shitty. It is a shitty situation for him, but he got himself into that.
It is, but
he could have still produced the goddamn show and pocketed half the money somehow,
well, honestly,
and they still wouldn't have been in a wiser.
He's actually going to probably come out of this ahead because even if he does, serve time or whatever they're going to do, he took the $11 million and invested it in cryptocurrency and doubled it.
Oh shit.
So, like, even if he pays back what he owes him,
if they
he's
know
still
that, then they'll probably get that for compensation. But yeah, we'll have to see how that rolls out. It'll be interesting to see if you get anything from that. But anyhow, that's all I had to really say about Deep Blue Sea. It's a fun movie. I have the sequel. I was going to watch it, and I never got around to it.
They made a sequel?
I think they made 3 of them, actually.
Really?
Because I got Deep Blue Sea 2, and I think they're pretty sure there's a Deep Blue Sea 3. But I haven't even seen the second one yet, so yeah.
I did not know this. They got to be bad.
Well, I remember because it's when I bought the Blu-ray, because they re-released the Blu-ray, or released the Blu-ray at the same time. Oh, I'm sure they are, Steven. Because I had the original DVD, and I was looking for it. I mean, I have it in the pack here, but I'm like, I must have given it away or something. But I thought I still had it somewheres here. Because yeah, I mean, I remember when that came out on DVD. That was one of the earlier, not the earliest, but earlier DVDs I bought, like blind buy. Or no, did I see it? No, I saw it in the theater. Never mind. But no, it was a fun one on DVD because at that time it was pretty reference quality. Because I mean, I threw in the DVD last night and I was like, wow, I'm kind of impressed at how good the DVD still looks.
Right.
After 25, 26 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, considering at the time, and then compared to the DVD, to the Blu-ray, of course, looks, that much better than the DVD, but 4K, I mean, in the shots that don't have any CGI or anything like that, they look superb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's well handled, a lot of great grain structure. It was scanned at Warner. And then what's his face signed off on it, Rennie Harlan. Yeah. Who's also the one, and that's the other thing that's weird because Daylight was another one of his, and that was so he would have signed off on that one.
And Long Kiss Goodnight too.
And Long Kiss Goodnight, which is coming out in a few weeks, which kind of goes along with what I've said before, right? Like about how it seems like every time they do this, they get a director and they just get him in there to sign off on all their films or something like that, regardless of what company.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know what, and we didn't really talk about that. Other than we just know it's not a technical issue, why that's delayed. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know either. But no, Deep Blue Sea is great. It's a fun movie. Brian Barth, it's simple. David Lynch actually wanted to make something. The other guy, he promised to make something just so he could take the money. So that's the only real thing there. That's the
other problem with David Lynch is he's never really made anything that was technically successful.
Exactly.
I think his most successful things he's ever done, if I remember right, are like Elephant Man. I think Straight Story did okay.
It did get the Oscar nomination for that.
It did that business, but like, I mean, as far as like box office wise, I think it did okay compared to what it cost. And then Mulholland Drive, I think, was successful. I don't even know if Blue Velvet was successful, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
think Twin Peaks did okay, but that's
the first season at least.
Well, I mean the movie.
Oh yeah, the movie. Yeah. But yeah. All right. Well,
but otherwise, like a lot of his other films, they pretty much either lost money or kind of went unnoticed. Basically.
Yeah. Hey, some people got the schmooze thing, and he schmoozed Netflix, and I don't feel sorry for Netflix. I'm sorry, I just don't. They got what they deserved. Because trust me, they do the same thing to like Tom Mintz and stuff. They do the same thing. The writers and directors themselves swindle them out money and creativity, all that. So I don't feel sorry for Netflix. I just don't. All right. Well, Tom, I guess we'll move on to my last pick, and then we'll go to you. So I watched Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee, and
I need to get that.
Powers Booth. So yeah, this is a Spanish import because the Twilight Time one, and plus it's 20th Century Fox. So yeah, the Twilight Time is going for $149. So no, thank you. And this is a legit. This isn't a you know, where they burn it and try to scan
Right.
you. You scam me. It's real because you know how the back of the burnt ones look. No, this is a Spanish import. I guess it just came out not too long ago. It's English. You can play it. You know, it's got you can play it in the English language. It's region free. The only thing about that's different from this than the Twilight Time release of the is there's no special features. The only thing that's on this is the trailer for the movie. But yeah, so no, but Rapid Fire, one of Brandon Lee's best movies outside of The Crow. It's a great movie. It really reminds you of like you know, there's like you could see where he was going, and you could see his father in this movie, like because he's really good at the martial arts and stuff, and he and everything. And so like the story of this is like there's a sort of like a drug war going on between this Italian guy and this Chinese guy, and the Italian guy kills the Chinese guy. And Brandon Lee's character is a college student who witnesses it, but he's also really good at martial arts, so he can kick ass because his dad was in the Chinese military, or at least was trying to save China from being a communist nation. So, but like he witnesses it, he can kick ass, and then so they put him in witness protection and ship him out from LA to Chicago to put him up in a house. And it turns out the FBI guys are bad guys, and they're going to try to kill him. And then Powers Booth is a Chicago police officer who's been trying to put away this mob and the Chinese mob all together because they're running drugs. So he ends up helping Brandon Lee's out, brings him into his operation to protect him from everybody, and they go after the bad guys. And it's this great buddy sort of like movie where like Brandon Lee's like this young, arrogant guy, and Powers Booth is like the old wore down cop, and you know, they work very well together, and he like provides the father figure for him that he lost in his father figure. And you know, if you watch this movie, it really does feel like Brandon Lee's working a little something out with the loss of his father, Bruce Lee. It does feel like he's working a little something out with that. It feels like it's very connective to that, and what kind of man you can be when your father has a calling and does something and you don't quite understand it. You know, so this is a really great movie. It's very action packed. The heyday of the 90s, early 90s, when like Van Damme and all of them were doing their martial arts movies. And before you ask Brian Barth, because I'm sure you probably will, I foresee that if Brandon Lee would have lived, he would have had a career very similar to Keanu Reeves. I think some of the movies that Keanu Reeves has done, Brandon Lee would have done. He might have got the role over Keanu. I really do. He feels like that's where he was headed. And from by all accounts, he seemed like a really good guy, much like in the vein of Keanu Reeves as well. So, yeah, if you've never seen Rapid Fire, I highly recommend it. It's a great 90s action flick. Great performances by Brandon Lee and Powers Booth. Check it out. Check it out. It's really good. It's really good. But yeah, there you go. See, I knew it was coming. Yeah. So I probably paid a little more for it than I should have, but I've been wanting the movie for a while. But I didn't pay $200 for it. I paid like 22 bucks.
I'm sure it'll be re-released anyway.
Well, it's a Fox movie, 20th Century Fox.
Oh, yeah.
So I paid $22 for it, but yeah, it's a Spanish import. It's region free. It plays. You can play the English, everything. So if you can get that one, I'd go ahead and get that. Which I also saw they have a the William Dafoe, speaking of the vampire, Shadow of the Vampire, they released that as well on a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it looks like, you know, but this one looked all right. It didn't look bad. It was definitely Blu-ray quality. I don't know if it's the Twilight Time scan of the film, but it doesn't look bad. It looks better than a DVD. So yeah.
Right.
But it's definitely worth a watch if you've never seen it. Great movie. Yeah, I did. Brandon probably would have made a great Neo. He probably would have. So I said, I really think he would have had a very, very similar career to Keanu Reeves. I think they would have been fighting over a lot of the same parts if he would have lived. But anyway, there you go. That's what I have. So, yeah. Yeah. And I did get one of his movies that I've never seen. I was going to have it watched before the show, but I didn't get time because I watched all the Leprechauns. But I'll bring that on next week. I'm looking forward to see it because I've heard it's not very good. It's one of his first movies. So, but anyways, Tom, if you're a rookie, you got anything you want to say before we move on?
Nope. I haven't seen that one. Just nothing.
I figured you have it.
Nothing come to mind for when I'd wonder about it. He's pretty much covered it all right there. So there we go. That is a movie.
All right. Yes, Steven. Laser Mission. That's the one I'm going to watch.
Laser
Never
Mission.
seen it. Never seen it. I'm excited to because I've heard it's one of those.
Mission lasers.
I've heard it. I know the guys that did Mystery Science Theater 3000 riff tracks. They do the riff tracks. I know they ripped into it, so I'm looking forward to watching it actually. But to you, Tom, it's to you.
All right. I got to watch a film by a very prolific director, at least amongst geeks and nerds and sci-fi fans. Director of one of my favorite films of all time. And this was basically his first feature film, from my knowledge. And it is a weird movie of sorts, but it was also fun at the same time. It's called Flesh and Blood, from director Paul Verhoeven.
Yep.
Starring Rutger Hauer and Jennifer Jason Leigh, which are probably the two names you would recognize. And it's actually a pretty nice media book from Cape Light here. Comes with a DVD and a Blu-ray. And this is the back card. It actually has another picture on it, which is kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
And you got a nice booklet with it inside. The digipack, or whatever you want to call it.
That's cool.
And it has some special features and whatnot. But, I mean, as far as look-wise, as you can tell, it's probably an older scan. I was hoping for a better scan, because I thought there'd been rumors for a while that this was going to be getting a 4K release at some point. But the movie is a bit wild.
Explain it, I don't think I've ever seen it myself.
Okay, so it takes place in the 1500s in Italy. So it's a medieval time story that that takes place in Italy, and it starts out with this king who is recruiting a bunch of mercenaries to fight a war with him, and he promises them they can pillage the other side once the war is finished. And his son is also the prince. There's a prince in tow, and his son is like an ingenuitive kind of guy, where he's always coming up with like inventions and shit like that, and new ways to fight battles and wars. So like he's coming up with like really cool like like bombs, certain kind of things like bombs and other things like that. But anyway, his dad's kind of like keeping him back, and Rutger Hauer plays one of the lead mercenary guys. And of course they win the war, and they pillage and stuff like that. And of course the king's all like disgusted by the way they're acting. And of course he's got to be reminded, well, you said they could, sir. And it's really one of those movies where it's very ambiguous. Like there's no real great hero or villain outside of the prince. And he's just kind of bland. And I guess what I found out was just kind of researching it a little bit. The main story was kind of sidelined for a love story. And the love story is kind of the problem with the movie, but now it's the backbone of the film. And so you have like this antagonistic story between Rutger Hauer and this other mercenary guy or whatever, or former guard of the king. That gets really shoved to the back burner, and like you totally forget about the character by the time he's brought back in, and you keep forgetting about the character as it goes along, because it's just he's so shoved to the side. But basically what happens is, okay, so after that, then they're forced out by the guard because of what they did, and also Rutger Hauer lost a baby in the process of this whole thing. So like he's all bent on revenge, and he's using the friar or whatever, who's also following this saint that they found. And so he's using that to his advantage to get the people to go where they want. And they go and they take over this castle and all this other shit. And they kidnap. So like in this other part of the story, the king is going with the prince to meet up with his bride-to-be, which is played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, and they kidnap her. And her and the prince have only seen each other for like 20 minutes, and she points this out later in the story for other reasons. But like, and like instantly the first night, like she gets raped by him, Rutger Hauer.
Jeez.
Yeah, like flat out raped. And like the whole crew is like holding her there. And I guess Jennifer Jason Leigh was pissed because the most brutal parts of the scene wound up on the cutting room floor.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's like, no, she was upset that they got cut out. So like, yeah. And so if you're a Jennifer Jason Leigh fan, you get to see all of her and a lot of her.
More than Fast Times.
There's a lot of tits in this movie, like just hanging out and shit. This is Paul Verhoeven, so like,
yeah,
he's like titties, more titties, probably. But no, like it's very violent and brutal in some scenes, and the sex is very in your face. And what Verhoeven was trying to do is just show how shitty it was to live at this time, more so. And again, like so, like they're held up in this castle, and they're trying to get, you know, at the same time the prince and the king are trying to get the girl back or whatever. It's like this whole thing going back and forth, and that's when they get the other guard involved after he's like supposedly done all his time and he doesn't want to come back and deal with it anymore. And then you get the plague involved and some other stuff. It just gets really convoluted after a while, and you're just Jennifer Jason Leigh's character is not very likable. Rutger Hauer is probably the most likable character in the movie, but it's like the movie on purpose tries to make him a jerk at some points,
right?
Like with the whole rape bit and some other things. And it just by the end of the film, you're just kind of like, who was I supposed to be following as a hero? Because then the prince comes back in, and it's like, okay, and she's still like clearly in love with the prince, even though she said she only saw him for like 20. It's just there's some cool parts to it. It's a really interesting watch, but it's just like the story is what really kind of bogs it down in its weirdness. And I guess that's where Verhoeven just kind of throws his hands up with the film, because he, you know, he's like he never would compromise again. He said on a story like this, because that was the whole thing, was her involvement, Jennifer Jason Leigh's whole involvement in the story had to do with they wanted a love story. The studio did, because the money people, that's what they wanted to sell the movie with. And I guess him and Rutger Hauer also didn't get along very well, because Rutger Hauer was trying to make this more of a romantic fantasy kind of like, and romantic I mean in the sense of the term of like not so realistic,
right?
But yeah, Verhoeven was all about verisimilitude. Basically, you could tell it was like very.
He's Verhoeven, so
I mean, this is probably one of the more brutal, in your face, probably what it was like to live in the medieval times, you know, type movies. So
yeah.
It's something.
I've never seen it, so where would this come? Where did this come from? What company?
Cape Light put it out. MGM owns it initially. Orion, whatever.
Okay.
So
somebody's Amazon probably has it now.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if it does get a 4K eventually here soon. I mean, this scan looks pretty old, so.
Good old Verhoeven. Yeah, no, I've never seen this one. I've heard of it, but I never really
like
knew
the only
what it
one
was
of his
about.
movies that hasn't got a 4K yet.
Yeah.
Almost every other one of his has that I know of.
Yeah, I mean RoboCop, Total Recall,
Showgirls, Total Recall.
Showgirls,
the other one, Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. Speaking of which, did you see that about her on Twitter? Oh, that's
I hated
crazy.
her character the first time.
You didn't like Dizzy?
No.
Really?
No, she's a bitch.
The not the what's her name?
You mean the other one, the one that he wound up with eventually, or
the not Charlie Sheen's ex-wife.
No, the blonde you're talking about.
The
I
redhead.
like the blonde. All right, she's all right. Or redhead or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Dizzy. She's Dizzy.
Oh, Dizzy. Yeah. No, I don't like the one that Charlie Sheen's wife played.
Yeah. No. She was like on the Critical Drinker posted something about her, and then somebody put on his as like, no, she's ugly even when she's naked in the movie. And then she herself retweeted that as something, and it blew up, and everybody was like, "No, Team Dizzy, everybody loves Dizzy." It was like, it was crazy. So
I missed that part, but I saw something
yeah.
about it somewhere. But I guess that was what it originated from. I guess I didn't
Yeah,
see
something
where
like
it came from, but all right, yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, I hated her character.
Yeah, the one chick, it's Charlie Sheen's wife, was annoying. No, but anyways, Flesh and Blood. Would you recommend it?
It all depends on your film tastes. Like, if you're somebody who likes Verhoeven, you almost got to see it just because. There is a lot of Verhoeven elements to it. It's very well shot, very well made, very well cast, very well, everything in it is very well done technically as far as like that goes. On a shoestring budget, you can tell, but you feel the grittiness and the griminess, and you almost feel like you need some kind of shot after seeing it. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, I think I can recommend it for the most part. I think casual film viewers like Rook probably wouldn't get into it. This would probably be one that, like, back in the day, that Runner would have been pissed if he would have bought. But then again, he might have liked it. I don't know.
He would probably like it now because
I don't know, because he got pissed at me for that one.
Well, I think that's a bit of a different movie.
This is probably a better film than that overall, as far as like a movie goes. But
I mean, it's not a David Carradine drunken performance.
No, it's not like a B movie type level thing. I mean, it is B movie ish, but it's not like like I said, Verhoeven is doing it completely earnestly. None of this is like swashbuckling or what's the word I'm looking for from medieval time. Like I said, the romanticized version of what we think of.
Yeah,
it shows pretty much what it's like: blood, piss, puke, and shit.
Yeah,
like everywhere.
It wasn't so clean back then.
No. Like, I mean, it does not shy away from showing pretty much what it probably was like to be in that era.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you can almost understand why Jennifer Jason Leigh like accepts her fate at first with Rutger Hauer, because it's like, I mean, this the strong versus the weak, kind of thing.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Back in that day, I mean, it was pretty bad.
Because that's the thing, is after he gets done, assaulting her, she's like, I don't want anybody else to do it, only you. And just as another guy's going to do it, he's at first he's going to let him do it, and then he starts fire to the whole fucking camp just to stop the guy from doing it. He's like, oh, look, a fire. Like, yeah. And then, of course, he already, his former wife, or whatever you want to call her, she's getting all fucking pissy because, but she accepts it too. Like I said, it's like one of those things where you're like, yeah, at that point, what were you going to do?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, it's just kind of the way things probably were. Like, I mean, she was encouraging him to go to take her in the first place. So, like that was, so like that back then, I guess that was just, it was just, she knew her place, I guess, for a lack of a better way of putting it. Like, I'm not trying to be like,
yeah, no, I get you. I mean, I think so many people with the modern sensibility today, they don't get it. They don't understand that's what it was like back in the day. You can't change history. That's what it was like. And I guess is, like you were saying, Verhoeven is trying to give you the accurate portrait of that.
The nastiness of it all.
The nasty, yeah.
And the chick I'm talking about who plays his like love interest is actually the chick who plays the wife of Iggy Pop in Crybaby, that actress. So she's not even that good looking, like, but I mean, I suppose by medieval Italy standards, she's probably normal, but like, or at least somewhat desirable, yeah. But that's when that's the kind of, that's kind of the whole point of when, everybody sees Jennifer Jason Leigh, they're all like fucking, dogs just going.
Yeah. No, plus she's a babe. She's a mega babe.
But she's kind of a bitch too. Like, that's my whole point, is nobody's very likable in the movie.
Yeah, everybody's just
Rutger Hauer's probably the most likable character, but he even does more than enough questionable things to where you're just like, yeah, I mean, who is the real hero here other than the prince, who is boring as shit?
Yeah.
And then you start to think at one point, like, that's the thing, is like, and I guess like that was the other problem with the movie, was like, as they were making it, it was just changing constantly on the fly to try and keep up with what the demands of Orion were. Because like the movie feels like it's being pulled in 12 different directions. And that's basically what I read, was that it was basically
movie by committee.
Yeah, and so at like some points it's like I said, Rutger Hauer seems like, okay, he's our hero, he we're gonna follow, but wait a minute, he's clearly not a hero. You know, he's doing these bad things, and he's lying to all these people and doing this kind of thing. But then the prince and him, it almost looks like they're gonna team up at one point, and then it just kind of goes in this other direction. So it's like there's just so much happening throughout the film. It was kind of almost like a breakneck kind of thing going on, but the movie's not like paced horribly fast. I mean, the action sequences are great, but there's a lot of lull here and there where they're just like kind of sitting around and eating, and you know, like the sex takes over and stuff like that. Like there's like 3 or 4 sex scenes in a row and stuff like that, like kind of thing. And not like straight up sexy. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I
like,
know what you mean. Yeah,
there's no real plot going on, but like they're sitting at the table eating, and then Jennifer Jason Leigh like sticks her foot up into his crotch, and the next scene they're fucking, and then there's another scene where she's like naked and they're in a tub, and it's like, and it's just like they're talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. It's like, okay, yeah, there's some exposition and certain things here that are interesting, but otherwise it was just kind of, I found myself just kind of not drifting off, but kind of drifting away here and there. Like it's kind of like, okay, is something going to happen anytime soon? But there's enough shit that happens that keeps your interest as you go along.
Yeah.
So, and the last quarter of the film really amps up all the action and
finally builds to something.
Finally builds it all up, yeah, to something.
So, well, Brian Barth wants to know, what other films like Flesh and Blood would you recommend?
It's hard to say what movies are kind of like that. I'm trying to think of movies that aren't so romanticized when it comes to medieval times. Probably like that one that I haven't seen it in its entirety, but Aragorora, or however you say the name, the one that Herzog made.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's around that same period, and I think it's also about Italian lord or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to think of movies like that.
Most movies like from that era or in that period, they romanticize it so much that it's so like storybook almost.
Yeah. Cobra Verde? What's that? I don't think I've heard of that one.
Maybe. I'm not familiar with it.
And Sword of the Valiant?
That might be one.
Yeah, I mean, like most of the time you think about like Excalibur, it's a little more hardcore. It's
kind of like that, but it's a little more hardcore. Yeah, I mean, if you like things like Conan and stuff, you might like it, but don't expect fantasy elements to it, because there's zero fantasy in it as far as like anything like that goes. It's all straight up very forward. Like the only time there's any kind of like is when you have, like they said, the friar or whatever, where he's all like, "It's a sign, it's a sign," and you know, Rutger Hauer's like, "Yeah, it's a sign. Let's follow him." You know, you know, he's really kind of like this dashing, kind of like Han Solo-esque kind of figure in the film. So he's really easy, and he's Rutger Hauer, so like you're gonna follow. You know, he's a likable actor. So yeah, I think that's the movie's biggest mistake is not letting him be the hero.
Yeah, kind of like,
I think is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sounds like
even if he was a flawed hero, there was just a few things they could have. Because I mean, even the assault isn't such a big deal because she does basically fall for him, but then he turns into a triangle of sorts, and you're just kind of like, why?
It's dumb. All right, well, that's a Verhoeven movie I can put on my list that I have not seen. But other than that, I don't have any more picks. Rook, you came empty-handed with just, well, I can't say empty-handed. You came with one. So
correct.
So and then Tom, you got all yours. I guess that's it for the show tonight. Unless anybody saw anything else they maybe haven't saw, they want to.
I didn't. What a show!
I did not get to watch the rest of that Old Man movie, or I'd talk about that.
Oh yeah.
And then I didn't. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That's the one I was making fun of with all the.
Yeah, with all intros. The intros. Like I said, I watched like a lot of the Leprechauns this week, and then I polished it off with Boondock Saints for my St. Patty's week. So,
yeah. And I didn't get nearly as much watched as I wanted to. So
me neither. But all right, guys,
watch twice as many next week.
I'll believe it if you show up. I'll believe it. I'll believe it if I see it, man. But
Yeah.
I do appreciate you, Rook. Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you guys for coming. As always, everybody out in the chat and everybody at home and everybody that was watching on X tonight. We had a good crowd on X tonight. So shout out to all you guys on YouTube, X, in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to my channel, Rook's channel, Midnight Says After Dark. Check out the Leprechaun tier list. And as always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.